Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, I'm back out here at Giga Texas and it's a cloudy day, a little bit humid, but otherwise not too bad to fly. A few rain showers came through during the flight, but it was very minimal, so we were able to see a lot of things. Now, I did want to mention quickly that the Tesla Semi has had a lot of sightings out here over the last week. Over on the west side, just to the north of the end-of-line facility, they installed a Megacharger site. And as you can tell by this video clip, this is where they have been testing out that Semi, and it's charging in this location. Now, later on, after I took this video on my previous flight, the Semi had actually been hooked up to a trailer. It was driving along the west side of Giga Texas. And it's really great to see that they're using it. I'm not sure what exactly they're testing or how long it's going to be until we see more semis, but it is great to see that here. Now, a couple of things for today's video I want to just point out that you will see, and a lot of other things as well, but most importantly is over on that far southwest side, we see yet even more of the transformers being delivered today. At least 10 more. There were 5 trucks that are kind of a covered truck, and there's 2 transformers per truck, and we got a chance to see them lifting one of them out of that truck and placing it kind of on that west end. Another very interesting thing about those transformers on the other side, and I want to just say thank you to my Patreon and viewer Desi Doolin for noting this, and just give you some information on this. It looks like at least some of these new transformers, the ones that are of a little bit different style, actually match up to the ones that are being put in over at the Megacharger 2. Now, there are a lot of them here, and it may indicate that we're going to see yet another Megacharger site being installed, if what Desi suspects is true. So with this series of images, you could kind of get an idea of what's going on over on that southwest side where they're storing the new transformers, and over at the Megacharger site where they're finishing up installing all the conduit. So definitely something to watch, specifically on that south end of the extension of the electrical switchyard, where right now we see them installing those underground vaults that will match up very similar to the ones that we already see at the existing switchyard. And this is going to add that double capacity that we've been talking about to help service the electrical needs here at Giga Texas. And the last thing that I want to just kind of point out to you is over at the Cortex 2 facility nearby where the electrical switchyard is being expanded, we see on the north end that it has now reached its full length, at least for now. The reason why I say that is all the steel has been assembled, all the beams and columns, and they're starting to put in the roof decking. But as a few viewers have pointed out, there is some provisions potentially for an extension. And you can see that here with this close-in view. There's another small kind of footing with some additional mounts. And this may indicate at some point we're going to see this extension. What exactly that's going to be and how it's going to look, not really sure, but it's definitely something worth watching. So anyway, that's a quick look here at the intro and some of the discussion items that I wanted to talk about. So let's get in the drone, let's fly around and see what Giga Texas looks like today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. I hope you don't mind that look back 3 years ago from the same vantage point. A lot has changed, and we're going to start here at this southwest corner where you see some more trench boxes on both sides of the caisson, and it looks like they are now starting to do the digging out work after all of the erosion with the rainstorms that we had earlier in the week. And you can see how this is proceeding further up to the north along this berm. And eventually it'll connect in to the other work that is being done up near the flagpoles where we've seen a lot of the trenching. And it will proceed through this area where that dirt road is just at the bottom center of the screen. Now I'm going to fly along the west side up towards where that work is being done. Just want to give you a sense of just how far they have yet to go. A lot of gravel being stockpiled here near the flagpole. Some of those purple liners on those pipes. And of course, here is where they've got more of that trenching and trench boxes underway today. Now, I did also notice that there was some equipment being picked up and put into this loading platform. So I thought I'd fly over pretty close and get an idea of what it is. There's a large box that was delivered, a kind of a crate, and then now they are lifting up some equipment and bringing it back down. But this gives you a kind of an idea and a small view inside there of what is going on at this part of the factory. Now we're going to fly back to the south, and one of the things I did notice is over this section, it looks like there are a couple of man lifts and they're working on or near where the glass is. I don't know if this is going to be either just some maintenance done on the glass or if they're going to be preparing to remove some of this glass in case maybe they need to have some openings. But anyway, it was just interesting to see that work going on. As I pivot towards the flagpoles, I'll fly over this parking lot. I want to just reposition to show you these two new ramps, or at least the two ramps that are here. The one on the right is new with some of those red railings, and that's where the Model Ys have been coming out of the factory. And then the one on the left is fairly new, and looking inside, I'll bring the drone down a little bit lower, kind of get an idea of what is going on the inside here. There's still some plastic on the one on the left on the inside, so it's really hard to tell what else is going on in there. But having two ramps for an exit point for the vehicles is an interesting development. So I'm going to fly along the west side to the south, and we'll take a look at some of the activity near where they've been installing new glass. With this lighting, we can see right through the glass and what three of those floors look like: the ground, the mezzanine level, and then the above one. Also, a look through here where we have this drive path and how it appears on the inside. Near here, we see some window washers underway, and some other kind of concrete at the bottom next to this maroon kind of front end loader. It looks like they may be installing some sort of wall unit there. Something I'll check on my return on the next video. As we come around the southwest corner, we can see that the crews are continuing to add more texture in. The texture itself is a gray, so this is not the final color. I'm glad to see that it's not that white we saw in my previous video, and I do hope that it turns out to be a dark gray or a black so it blends in with the rest of the window line. But you can really get a good sense of the work that is being done here. So I'm going to fly along the south end and we'll show you some new developments over by the cooling plant. Now, if you recall in my previous video, this yellow crane was just arriving and we saw some of the weights on the yard trucks. I thought it might be for the windows, but it looks like it's being set up near the cooling plant and also where those manifolds are that you can see on the ground right behind it. So maybe we're going to see some pipe work done through that area. Not really sure, but it'll be something I watch for. As I pan the drone back over towards the factory, just a quick look at this loading platform and also some of the work that's being done in and around the north part of that in that trench that goes around to the north, to the east side, and then onto the other side of the cooling plant. Today, it looks like 5 of the 6 fan units are working again, and some people ask if that's an indication of how hard that Cortex may be working. Not really sure. It may just be an indication of the ambient temperatures and humidity levels, which are a lot higher than they have been in the earlier parts of the year. But anyway, there's at least some motion and some visuals of those fans in operation with this cooling plant. There's a closer in view here at the bottom of the screen. You can see that asphalt. They also have that pipe that still goes on that new asphalt underneath the road. And of course, the trench work that is being worked on right now on that north end of the plant. So anyway, that's it's kind of the way that this looks here today. I'm going to pan the drone back up to the north. We see a section of earthwork on the left-hand side of the screen. And that's probably going to get some either some asphalt or maybe some concrete. And then of course here we see more of these corrugated pipes and these green pipes being stockpiled. Not a lot of work around on the roof segment. And of course the privacy fences on this ground floor east side are still there, along with the privacy fences on the 6th floor and some of the openings going into the ramps on the top of the parking garage. Here's a look at the material staging yard. Some more materials still showing up there. Of course, in the center of the screen, that testing lot is pretty much empty right now, although that tent by the superchargers still remains. Used to have 2, now there's only 1. On the left center of the screen, we can see the platform, and also, as I pan down, a lot of these ductwork items that have been delivered. And it looks like that may be going into those 2 rectangular openings on that wall unit. While I'm here, I'm going to fly over the roof and kind of give you an idea of where the new solar panels have been installed and where they are making progress so far. They're pretty much at the flags now, working from the south to the north. And again, this is more of those unirack mounts waiting for solar panels. And I would expect to see some more arriving and being lifted up onto the roof section soon so they can continue that work. So I'm going to kind of look across the highway over to the west support facility and the outbound lot, the end of line, and the west warehouse and wheels, and we'll resume on the other side. Crews continue to work here on the caisson. Take advantage of the position of the crane and zoom in, show you what it looks like. They're continuing to add those concrete pipe segments with the hydraulic rams on that north end, pushing them into the bore. And again, we see more of them on the ground on the left-hand side of the screen. And as I zoom back out, we'll see a few more of them. And that just gives you an idea of how much more needs to be added into that tunnel until it is completed and connected to the caisson on the other side of the Colorado River. I also noticed a lot of activity here on this material staging yard, and I'll just bring the drone straight in, show you that not only do we have a yard truck moving what looks to be either platform or stair-like items, but also we have all of these transformers. Many of these on this end appear to be very similar to what we saw with the Megapack 2 installation that is underway on the north side of the factory. So it's possible that some of these new transformers may indicate another Megapack. And a viewer of mine and Patreon, Desi Doolin, had suggested that, so I thought I would get a little bit closer view. Now, as I continue to maneuver around, we see 5 trucks that are unloading more transformers. There's 2 per truck, and they use the crane to take them out after they've rolled the kind of canvas roof away. And they're right now stockpiling them on this west side. So as I continue to maneuver around, we'll see how this operation goes. One of the things I would point out is that with the transformers stored here next to this white kind of tent or sprung structure, is there's at least 3 different varieties of transformers. And I'm not sure if it's because that's all they can get or if they need them for specific applications or what the situation is. But they certainly have a lot of transformers here, more of them arriving. And there is even more just to the north here, and we'll see that here momentarily. But as I maneuver the drone around and kind of bring the pitch up, you can see where we are located in relation to the main factory. And I'll fly over this staging yard on the bottom of the screen to this next material staging yard, which has a lot of items. We'll go over the power lines, and then I'll bring the drone down a little lower to show you some of the materials. Now, we did see some superchargers. All the glass windows there are what was removed from the south end when they started the extension. So I don't know what the point of those are going to be, or if they're ever going to be used again. And then here we see a lot of materials, superchargers that are mobile here at the bottom of the screen, some of the long-term storage stamping machine parts. And then here is production equipment, much of which we've seen moved into the 4680 cell portion of the factory. Now, with a lot of the winds and rains that we've had, it's removed some of the coverings, and this is what it appears like. I did notice that these cabinets were almost completely uncovered. So I'll maneuver closer to one. I'll zoom in and I'll give you a good look here at what they appear like. Again, they look like they may be racks that allow the batteries to be either stored or moved or transported. But with this close-in view, this gives you a pretty good idea of how these are manufactured and what they might look like if they were into the factory assembled. And we'll just continue to watch and see when these are moved, and that may give us an indication of how 4680 production is going. There are some more in here next to those wooden crates that we just passed over. A new fenced off section here in the middle, and as I mentioned, more of the transformers that are being stored on this end as well. Many of these also look similar to what we've seen at the Megapack 2 site, although I would point out that there are several different varieties here as well. Now, the outbound lot is quite full with vehicles today. There was that pause last week for the Memorial Day holiday and also for line maintenance and upgrades, but now it looks like they are ramped up pretty much back up to the rate that we saw before the holidays. A lot of them being supercharged here at the south end. And the big news, or at least the one I want to show you here, is the amount of vehicles that have autonomously driven to these 4 lanes. And they are lined up, and we'll see the workers coming out of the end-of-line facility, walking over to the vehicles, and then they will get in and drive them over to this line at the north end, and then proceed inside for the final processing. Now, we know that they use autonomous driving here to get to this 4-lane queuing area from the factory. After that, it's all human driven, but I was watching today some of the movement from the end-of-line superchargers over to the outbound lot, and I was thinking that this may be an opportunity for them to introduce more autonomous driving so that they are delivered over where the trucks will pick them up. So that is something they're doing at Fremont, and that'll be something I'll watch here as well. Now we're going to pass over this material staging yard and proceed over towards where we've had that earthwork that has been at least discussed as part of a location for a welcome center at some point in the future. But right now it definitely looks like it's a parking lot, some for vehicles on the right, but also a number of new transport trucks. And we will see several of them driving off today. I noticed them proceeding over to the outbound lot and picking up a lot of vehicles, and then driving back along this road at the center of the screen to Tesla Road on the left, underneath that north bridge, and then to the north. So they are definitely using all of these trucks for transport, and I think this may be some indication of a change of their transportation operation, perhaps adding additional capacity so that they can move even more vehicles in the near future. But that'll be something else I'll continue to watch, and we'll see that together. So I'm going to pass over the highway, resume on this side, and I'm going to bring the drone down and just show you that there's continued work here at the Cyberburn. Some small trenching, some flexible conduit that's being installed, plus we can see a horizontal drilling machine in action at the bottom right of the screen. As we pass over the cyber berms, we can see that all of these kind of transport mounts and the bumper stands have been moved back to the north side of the paint shop, and that was to allow a lot of those paint operations that we saw on my previous video, and we'll get a closer view of that here momentarily. There was some of that flexible conduit that's being installed along that berm, and then here's a closer view of the north end of the factory. And as we see coming into the left-hand side of the screen, they're replacing those stands with the bumper for painting, and also they have this lined off marking area, and that's where I think those racks that are used to move bodies will be stored. So it looks like they're just doing some kind of a cleaning house and maintenance, and also marking off some of the areas. As we pass over this casting, handling, and sorting lot, a couple of things of note. On the ground here is more of the the Cybercab rear support frames or subframe castings. And in addition to that, we'll see some more here along on the ground between these equipment items, and then more of the old bumper paint stabs on the left-hand side of the screen. As I cross over this road and we pass over these stands that have, or the rack mounts that have more of the Cybertrucks castings, we see some Cybercab front underbodies on the left on the ground. And then here we see some more parts for gigapresses and then the recycling operations that are underway. So I'm going to bring the drone up and we'll cross over the power lines, and we'll resume a little later over on the east parking lot. All of these new trailers look a lot more organized, and they are preparing for the operations in the trailers that you see in the upper left to move here so that those can be removed. We also have more of these concrete vault items being stored here at the south end of the Cortex 2 facility. And while here, I'll just sort of pan back to the right to show you where Tesla Road will extend off to the right of the screen, what the die shop and the battery cathode plant look like today. And then here, as I bring the drone back down, we can see that they are adding wall segments, specifically the steel studs along this side, and putting in parapet walls which extend above the roof line all along this south end. And then once that is completed, we'll have those blue panels installed like we see on the left-hand side of the screen. So they're working quite quickly here on the south end to put the walls up and so kind of enclose this structure. And a little later, we'll get a view of the north end, and we'll see how that is progressing. But I'm going to pan the drone along this construction site. You can see how much land has been prepared for additional construction. We'll have to see what comes of that. And then as I continue to pan the drone here, we'll fly over these older trailers where we have all the temporary offices for Tesla. They're all going to be removed and relocated to those new trailers, and we can see all of this area will eventually be prepared for more construction. And that brings up a lot of different possibilities. First of all, this is the Megapack 2. The conduit is being installed. We see some work on either side and preparing to put a perimeter fence there. As you look at these transformers, as I mentioned, some of these are very similar to the ones we saw on that southwest corner being delivered and stored, which makes me wonder if we might not see another Megapack being installed just to the right of this, and that would be at the south end of the new electrical switch yard. So here's a good view of the work doing the final electrical cabling, and you can see the cable trays at the middle have most of those black cables already installed. and they're just wiring up some of the last of the megapacks and transformers. As I pan the drone up, we can see that south end of the existing switchyard, those 3 control trailers. They are sitting on top of an underground large vault, which brings the conduit in, and we are seeing a duplication of that here with this construction project. And they're starting to put the forms onto that gravel mix, and eventually they will start putting the wall forms and rebar, and then they will pour it, and then we'll have another underground vault. This is a great view looking back to the other side of that switch yard where those 3 control trailers are, and you can imagine just there's a vault underneath there, and those trailers are on top of that. So again, that will duplicate it, and with that clearing just to the south of that where the vault is being constructed, you can see that there's plenty of room for at least one more megapack, which makes me wonder if that isn't what we're going to see. So if that isn't the case, maybe we'll have 3 megapacks. I'm not really sure. But as I pull away, this is a great view of where that switch yard will be expanded, right in the middle of the screen, and it will be kind of a mirror image of what we see on the right-hand side of the screen. There's a lot more area that has been cleared and graded, so I do expect to see more construction here. And what that is, I don't have permits for yet, but I will continue to try to find them. As I bring the drone back down, we can get a good view of this north end. You can see that it is at full length, at least for right now. All of the beams and columns have been installed. Roof decking has been put onto the top beams, and the cranes have been moved away. We also see a worker on a lift working on almost the peak of the structure here. And one other thing that I want to point out, and again, I've had some viewers mention this, is you can see another footing with more mounts on either side of this opening and all along that perimeter grade beam. That suggests that the building may in fact be extended further to the north. Now, I was zooming in to see if they were doing a tree topping ceremony because they've got all of the beams up, and it's really hard to tell for sure. They may have that signed beam on the left large opening because it looks like there is a bunch of marks on there, but I didn't get close enough back down to tell for sure, but it looks like all of the steel assembly is complete. In fact, here I'll try to get it a little bit lower and see if there are signatures. Again, I should have gotten a little closer, but anyway, this is how the structure looks today, and it does look like there are provisions to extend it further to the north, and I'll be watching that. The 2 cranes are being moved over to this side. One is already down, and it looks like they are getting ready to maybe disassemble it, and that may indicate that the use for these tall cranes is now come to a close, at least for this stage of production. Nice view from the north to the south along the battery cathode plant and also the die shop. You can see the trailers at those north receiving lines and are the receiving doors and how the operations look today, plus a look back towards that Cortex 2 facility. As we fly along this side and past that cell testing lab, I'm trying to show you the asphalt that has been put down next to the wade pit, and it extends along the east side of the crash test facility. Some people have been speculating that this might be a test track, and it is possible. And here we see next to this red vehicle, a lot more of the concrete has been placed here. This is sort of that broken up recycled concrete. It looks like they may be using that to line where they're going to pave over, at least at some point. So maybe preparing or improving the ground for that asphalt. You can see more of it going along this side of the crash test facility. And I'll keep the zoom in and just show you what the south end looks like. We do see a lot of tires and wheels stored here. And in addition to that, the crash wall has been re-established underneath those curtains. And you can see that right on that south end. So I'll zoom back out and kind of pan away from the battery cathode plant and the crash test facility. I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude and kind of give you a good overall view of all of the areas that we got a chance to visit today. Also, from this altitude, we get a good appreciation for that Cortex 2 facility, just how long it actually is. So as always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your support, and I hope that what we were able to see and talk about in the video today was helpful. Take care.